Well, welcome back to the Tomb of Terror. It's Gratu Orloff here on February 16th, 2023. Keep forgetting what year it is. But woke up this morning to a veritable winter wonderland. I think today we'll have a look at some more comics as we go through the collection. My goodness. Very nice. All right. So, wow. Why, it's Pete the Cat. Hello, Pete the Cat. How are you? You see yourself there? All right. Pete the Cat, ladies and gentlemen, making an appearance here on this. What is it? Thursday morning. Thursday morning, yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. I'm supposed to have a Dr. Pepper. The doctors say you should have a Dr. Pepper every day at 10, 2, and 4. And it's almost 8, so I'm having it a little early, my healthy Dr. Pepper drink. All right, let's get going, ladies and gentlemen. We can monitor the snow from the balcony upstairs. Here's Alan the cat, ladies and gentlemen. Alan the cat's camera shy. We turned off the lights because it upsets Greta Thunberg when I leave them on. Well, and the electric bill, pretty insanely high. I wasn't feeling well last night, so I wasn't able to go on the Four Color Fossils show. It's kind of depressing. But my wife made some great food, and that was wonderful. Okay, so when we left off, we were looking at Kull the Conqueror, also known as Kull the Destroyer. It's my recollection. Let me plug this phone in. And we're about to get to some good stuff because we're getting into the L's. And what's in the L's? Logan's Run is the only thing I can think of. And then when we get to the M's, we'll have all the great Marvel titles. Okay. And I'm trying to insert some books in that I don't have in. Okay, so all right. So as I recall, okay, what else do I need to put? Okay, hold on 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, boy, do you hear my knees crack when I stand up? All right. All right. Kull. I believe that's what we're looking at. Yeah, Kull is another character from Robert E. Howard, the creator of Conan, and there was a great run of Kull that came out. I think I was looking at this issue when the camera cut off last time. It's not sought after by the type people that seek investments and want comics to seal in plastic on their wall. So it's easy to find. It's easy to get these books cheaply, and they're wonderful. And this is one I got when I was a kid, with wonderful art from Alfredo Alcala. There was a whole bunch of Filipino artists that came in the 1970s and worked for Marvel and DC. Ernie Chan was one of them, Alfredo Alcala. Seems like Pablo Nebres. There are a bunch of them. And some people may have thought they were Spanish artists, but they're Spanish surnames in the Philippines. So anyway, here's another. This is Kull 20. I really need to replace that bag. Oh, here's another copy of Kull 20. This is great. Look at that Marie Severin art. She was such a great artist. I love her style. It's everything I love about comics is Marie Severin, and hardly anybody knows who she is. You know, Marie Severin was the colorist for the great EC Comics line. She was this young, cute girl that worked at EC. She was the sister of John Severin, who was an artist at EC. You watch interviews with her on YouTube. She's very sarcastic and funny, and she loved drawing comics. Inside, the art is equally wonderful. It's also Alfredo Alcala. I remember this. This sums up the beginning of my 6th grade year. This painting, this wonderful painting, King Kong on top of the World Trade Center. Originally, the first painting, he's holding jets, right? But King Kong, a 33-foot giant ape can crawl to the top of the Empire State Building in the 1930s and grab a biplane out of the air, just like he's fighting a pterodactyl back home on Skull Island. But it's really hard to imagine King Kong in the 1970s grabbing a jet out of the air. And of course, in the movie, they didn't have jets, they used helicopters, so they had to alter the painting and just have this nebulous kind of like, what is that he's holding? It could be anything. It could be part of the elevated train he grabbed earlier in the movie. But so they put some helicopters there and got rid of the jet that was in his hand in the earlier painting. So I was all excited. King Kong, a big King Kong movie's coming out at Christmas of 76. Yeah, started December 17th. I was all excited. My mom was going to take me to the movies, the Park Plaza Cinema in Arlington, Texas. And then a few days before, everyone was excited, the King Kong movie. A few days before it came out, Channel 8, the local ABC affiliate in Dallas, Texas, just took out their network programming for that night, probably I think it was a Wednesday night, and showed the original 1933 King Kong, which I had never seen, and I was blown away with all the stop motion animation and the dinosaurs and everything. And I'd seen, of course, Ray Harryhausen. I'd seen Seventh Voyage of Sinbad on television when I was in 2nd grade. And my father took me to see the Golden Voyage of Sinbad when that came out in 1974 at the base movie theater in Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio. I don't know if you've ever been in the military or had a parent in the military and gone to a movie theater on a military base. But it's kind of special. They have single screen theaters. They're like old-timey movie theaters, right? and they have the curtains that open up at the beginning. You don't see that very often in movie theaters today. The curtains are closed and then they open as the movie starts. But in a military movie theater, they always start with a Star Spangled Banner. They always start with the national anthem, and the flag waving. That's pretty. And the military theaters, at least when we were living in Germany, in Heidelberg, or must have been Heidelberg, they showed movie serials. We're talking 1970, 71, early 72. They were showing the old black and white movie serials before the movies, just like they did in the 40s. And cartoons in front of the movies too, Woody Woodpecker, and it was just like going back in time on these military bases. What else did they show? Oh yeah, the first time I saw Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the 1964, TV special that, with Burl Ives as the snowman and everything, and the mean Santa Claus that's in that. I saw that in a movie theater because there really wasn't much television. In Germany, there was like one English language station that I think came in from Ramstein Air Force Base. And everybody thought we couldn't get any American language television. But my father just crawled up on the top, put up an antenna, and we were getting everything. Star Trek, and then everybody else started putting up antennas. But my father was the courageous one that tried it. I don't know. How far is Heidelberg from Ramstein Air Force Base? I mean, these are memories of a 5-6-year-old. I don't know. All right. Enough of the waxing nostalgic. Here's Call 21. This channel is going to become more of me just talking about nostalgia and memories, and it just based because just showing you comics, it gets real old. And I pretty much shown you all the comics before, and I'm showing them to you again. I'm probably not going to do it a third time, so maybe we'll start talking about records and other kinds of things here. Here on the Tomb of Terror. That was 23. Let's go to 28. Man, I'm missing the snow, man. Here's 28. As soon as we finish these calls, I'm missing a bunch of issues between 23 and 28. I don't know what I was thinking back then. Probably the fact that I didn't have unlimited money. We weren't poor, but, at this point, my father had retired from the Army. He retired in 76, and he was working as a real estate agent. He ultimately became a real estate broker and had his own little business there in Arlington, Texas, and I worked for him for a little bit, but that really wasn't my bag, property management, trying to get rent from people. So I went and decided I would, and I became a teacher, and then was a teacher for many years and retired. Okay, Call ended. There was a new Call series. This is Call 5. This time it's just called Call. Oh, look at that monster there. Okay, the art is John Buscema on pencils with Klaus Janson inking. So, wait, wait, there's Call number 3. I didn't show you. This is Call the Conqueror 3. I guess that's the same series. That's from a dollar bin. Okay, then we come to Legends. DC comic. I think that this comic, it's John Byrne art. I think it's known because does it introduce the new Suicide Squad in it? I think that's what happens in it. I'm sorry to be ignorant, but yeah, I think it does in one of these issues. I guess I have several copies of this issue too. I'm kind of thinking it's this issue. Suicide Squad was a completely different thing in the 60s in the old comics than it was in the 80s. I guess we're in the 80s here, aren't we? Okay, so that was 3. Okay, I just showed you 4, right? I think so. 6. I don't have the complete series. Okay, and then here's Legends of the DC Universe. I've got 2 copies of this. This one isn't bagged. It's it's old. The heroes that had kind of been forgotten, like Adam Strange and the Doom Patrol and Rip Hunter. It's new stories, but they're trying to draw them and make them look like Silver Age stories, with some artists with better success. That's pretty realistic looking fake Silver Age art here for the Doom Patrol story. You know, that almost could convince, you know, a novice that this is a reprint from a Silver Age comic. I mean, I can immediately identify it as not, but who is the artist? This is pretty good. And then some of the art in the back is not convincing as Silver Age art. It looks very 90s, which I think is when this came out. And then Legends of Tomorrow 1. What? Oh, they've got like Sugar and Spike, but grown up. Okay, here's Legion of Monsters Satana, who's the sister of the son of Satan. And then I've got just a few of these Legion of Superheroes comics that I picked up from dollar bins. This is kind of, you know, Legion of Superheroes was always Superboy in the Legion of Superheroes. I've got tons of those in a separate box. I keep the Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes Bronze Age comics in a separate box. I keep the Adventure comics where they first appeared in the Silver Age collection. But after the Crisis on Infinite Earths, they got rid of, I don't know, they got rid of Superboy, and I don't know, I just don't like this kind of art. It's just not my, I was trying to give this a chance, but this is the last one I've got. I mean, it might be great. It's just I don't like the change. I didn't like what they did with Crisis on Infinite Earths, but some of it was unavoidable because, the creators of Superman, Jerry Siegel and Jerome Schuster, were kind of shafted by DC. They created this wonderful billion-dollar character, and they didn't get much money for it. DC owned the character. They also created Superboy, which is Superman as a teenager, you know, before he grew up to be Superman. But I don't know, something contractually with the lawyers, they DC didn't really own Superboy. It was really, so the lawyers descended, and the rights to Superboy went back to the family of the families of, I guess, of the two guys. I could be telling this story wrong, and you're welcome to put down below the real deal. But so anyway, Superboy as Superman as a teenager was no longer allowable in comics. You couldn't use him, so they made a new Superboy who was a clone that was half Clark Kent and half Lex Luthor, and so he wears a black T-shirt, and he's that's the character you see in the Teen Titans TV series, live action series. I think they just call it Titans. And I think it's the character as it is in the comics today, because they just can't use the old Superboy anymore. So that's why they had to take him out of Legion of Superheroes. This, I haven't read this. I don't have the complete series. It's called The Light and Darkness War. I think it's got Nikola Tesla as a character in the science fiction fantasy thing. If I'm not mistaken, it's a limited series of 6. I've got 2 of them, so I kind of need the other 4 before I attempt to read it. All right, one of the highlights of that summer of '76, before my 6th grade year, was the release of this movie, Logan's Run, and everybody my age kind of fell in love with Jenny Agutter, the girl in this, and it was, you know, just a really great movie. Predicted a lot of what's happening today in the news, actually, you know. And Logan's Run, yes. So Marvel did an adaptation of it. I remember, like yesterday, the Six Flags Mall Theater, right next to Six Flags Over Texas. This is issue 2. I've got them all. They had Logan's Run in one screen. They only had 2 screens. And Future World, the sequel to Westworld, on the other screen. And that was the summer of '76. The next summer would be Star Wars. But Logan's Run was like the amazing thing for kids my age until then. Just a great movie. It was filmed around in the area where I was living at the time. It was filmed in Fort Worth, some in Arlington, Dallas. The water gardens where the power plant is, and then Logan's Run with all the water descending, and they go down the steps. That was the Fort Worth Water Gardens, where a tragedy happened years later. This family was visiting from, I don't know, somewhere up north, and one of the kids jumped in the water, but you're not supposed to jump in the water, and they thought it was a swimming pool, and they started getting sucked down, and then another kid jumped in to rescue that kid, and they got sucked down, and then the father jumped in, and it's like the whole family, one after the other, got sucked into this thing, and you really weren't supposed to go into the water. I guess these kids just didn't know. Okay, there's one of these Logan's Run comics that's really sought after and is more pricey because they have a backup feature with Thanos. For no particular reason, there's a Thanos story in the back of Logan's Run, I guess because it's kind of science fiction-y. And that's the one all these people that like to put things on their wall seek out. Here it is. It's issue 6 with this beautiful cover, which looks like Paul Gulacy. Must be the master of Kung Fu Shang-Chi artist. Yeah, see, there's a Thanos story in the back. Now, this Logan's Run series got canceled, and I think they had one story they hadn't printed yet. And later in I've got 2 copies of it. I need to see how valuable this comic is, because I didn't realize I had 2 copies of it. Here's Logan's Run 7. Anyway, what would have been Logan's Run 8 is in some black and white magazine like Marvel Premiere. I just discovered that a few months ago. I did it on air. I was looking through one of those Marvel magazines, and it's like, wow, this looks like Logan's Run. And they just made a few alterations in the art and the wording. Okay, Lone Wolf and Cub. I need to move this to the other room because it's not from Marvel and DC, and these boxes are just Marvel and DC, and I have these independent boxes in there for these other titles. Lone Wolf and Cub. That's a great Japanese manga, Japanese word for comics. They took several movies. There were movies made based on this series. It was called this Samurai Warrior. He's the assassin for the Shogun. Anyway, the Shogun comes to kill him, and I don't know if his wife gets killed, but it's just him and the baby, right? And he's got it's like, I'm on the run. They're trying to kill me. Do I take my baby with me? And so he puts a ball and I think a sword in front of the baby and says, choose which path you will take. If you go for the ball, and that means you're going to remain a little kid, and you're not going to be tough enough to come along with me on the journey, so he's going to have to execute him. But if the kid reaches for the hilt of the sword, he knows, well, I'll take this. This is a tough baby, and the kid reaches for the hilt of the sword. So you got this samurai warrior pushing a stroller, basically a bamboo stroller with this baby in it, and he's got swords and all this deadly equipment mounted and hidden in the baby carriage that he can take out. And so anyway, they took several of these Lone Wolf and Cub movies, and they took all the action scenes and edited it down where it's just all action pretty much, and made this amazing American movie called Shogun Assassin. And they got, man, who was it? Some really good musician from the 60s to do the score. Was it someone from, man, was it someone from Paul Revere and the Raiders? I don't think so. I think it was, man, I don't remember who it was, but it was a really great soundtrack, new soundtrack for it. Great dubbing. And all right, this dog is hungry. Yeah, buddy. Okay, let's feed the dog. I have some food for him. Oh, yikes. And let's go out on the porch and look at the snow. And, oh, and I gotta get this Kroll comic put in. Yeah, I'm putting comics in. This Kroll is not to be confused with Cole. Novices getting Kroll and Cole mixed up, but not people I would associate with. If you get Kroll mixed up with Cole, there's something wrong with you, man. Okay, R comes before a U, so it goes before Cole. After Kong goes Kroll, then Cole. Okay, so I have one more comic put in. So it's the first productive thing I've done today is gotten the Kroll comic into the boxes. Let's see if it's still snowing out there. It's supposed to kind of snow on and off all day. But we'll go out and see, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, it is still snowing. How about unlocking the door first? Oh, there we go. Yes, indeed. Whoa. Something else. This is a good place to come out and snow watch. Got some chairs here. It's slippery. I'm kind of nervous I'm going to fall right over the edge, man. Yes, indeed. My footprints here. Astounding, ladies and gentlemen. Yep. Yeah, buddy, that's a lot of snow. Yeah, buddy. Oh, wow. I can't believe it. Snow. Oh, I thought I'd lock myself on the porch for a second. Okay, let's get this dog fed. Come on, Drew. Let's get some grub, man. Man cannot live on bread alone. He must need dog food as well. Well, what's going on with the UFOs today, ladies and gentlemen? Keep looking at the sky for those UFOs and don't notice that the entire state of Ohio has been poisoned. It's like in all the neighboring states as well, probably. No, don't notice that. Look at the fake UFOs. No, they're talking about it here on the... What is this guy that comes on before Alex Jones? I think his name is Owen Young. He's pretty good. This guy.
The air is poison. We're not going there.
All right, the dog needs food.
It did kind of make me wonder. Remember last year when they passed the anti-lynching bill? And this was predicated on the
All right, there's some food. Drew, the dog. Let's go look on the porch. I'm fascinated by snow. Yes, indeed. Ladies and gentlemen. Snow. And you know, good times begin with Dr. Pepper. Do you know that you can drink Dr. Pepper cold or hot? There's a Dr. Pepper museum in Waco, Texas, and you go there, they ask you if you want the Dr. Pepper cold or hot. They'll serve it to you like coffee. And back in the 60s, they made a big deal in the advertisements that you could drink it cold or hot. Back when Donna Loren was advertising Dr. Pepper, you know, and Dick Clark. I've never had Dr. Pepper hot. I wonder what that's like. Of course, Dr. Pepper used to taste a lot better back then, too. But then the whole world was better back then, wasn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, yeah, buddy. Welcome back to the Tomb of Terror. That dog's going to probably come up and bug us for more food because that wasn't really enough, but the rest of the food is in the attic. I have to go up there to get it. I haven't had breakfast myself. Someone just printed an article that said, is the economy rough? Just skip breakfast. Some liberal, whoa, dude. Yeah, that's the solution to this inflation, is just don't eat breakfast. Yeah, or just eat bugs, ladies and gentlemen. That would be a solution too. Okay, so what were we doing? Looking at Logan's Run. We finished that. We were looking at Legion, those terrible Legion, Light and Darkness War, Logan's Run. Yeah. I was talking about Logan's Run, just memories. Okay. Same time period was this comic Machine Man. He's a spin-off character from Kirby's 2001: A Space Odyssey. Kirby, around 76, adapted 2001: A Space Odyssey about 9 years after the movie came out. And then he kept going after the movie, and he introduced this, look at this, Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew t-shirts, but the printing, you can't even see their face. They're just charcoal smudges. Yeah, this is a Kirby creation, this character, Machine Man. Edited, written, and drawn by Jack Kirby. Lettered and inked by Mike Royer. So, I picked this comic up because I love Jack Kirby. I mean, I knew Jack Kirby's art was not what it had been in the 60s, but it's still Kirby. This is issue 2. Oof, don't have issue 3. I have issue 4. I have 2 copies of issue 4, actually. Here's another copy of issue 4. It would make a lot more sense if I had 1 copy of issue 4 and issue 3 also, but that's not how things worked. 5, 6. This is what is that in there for? 7. Why is this random board in the middle? Another copy of 7 looks like. Here's 8. Issue 9 looks a little wonky. Well, it looks a little wonky. There's so much space at the top. I guess this was kind of cut wrong. It's got a little more space at the top than you'd normally see. So that makes it highly collectible. Okay, I guess Kirby left. Issue 10, all new, all different. So it looks like, well, if you can't have Kirby, we'll get Steve Ditko as the artist. That means Steve Ditko penciled and inked this. So, you know, looks like a vintage Spider-Man comic. I just saw some Maurice Severin art. It's just an ad for Marvel Comics. They make it look almost like a Hostess cupcake apple pie ad, and it's just an ad for Marvel Comics. But look at her art, how she draws Spider-Woman there, and it's just all wonderful. She had a marvelous sense of humor. 11. Imagine if you grew up and Marie Severin was your grandmother. It's just, wouldn't that be amazing? Here's 13. She didn't put up with Stan Lee's bullshit. I think they were all just scared of her. It's just like 14. But she doesn't say bad things about Stan Lee. 15. So, Machine Man's a comic that you should buy. Yeah, but it didn't last long. And then they brought it back in a little limited series, 4-issue miniseries with this fancy art. Each issue kind of builds on the last. He's gradually being built. 1, 2. I don't have the next 2, or I'd show you the whole transformation process. Then he comes back. Machine Man 2020. Oh, that 2020 was a futuristic year. Oops, it's now 2023. It's the problem when you put dates in science fiction. Then eventually that date happens, like 1984. Well, we are certainly living 1984 now, but what George Orwell did, he wrote that in 1948. He just thought, well, what's a good futuristic year? How about I just switch the year around? Instead of 48, I'll make it 84. But in 1984, people said, well, gosh, I'm glad that all didn't happen. But now it's happening, ladies and gentlemen. He knew what he was talking about. I remember Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, the beginning. The apes had been, there's a monument to dogs and cats, I think, in Los Angeles, because all the dogs and cats had died from some virus in 1972, all the dogs and cats on Earth. And so I think that's what it was, 72, wasn't it? And so they had to take in monkeys as pets, and then eventually they became like domestic help and slaves, and they were treated badly, and then they rose up and revolted in this big riot, and that was the beginning of the Planet of the Apes. Yes, that's the wrestling clock. Okay. Madame Xanadu, issue 1. She originally had a comic called Doorway to Nightmare. This is probably valuable. I've got 2 copies of it. It's kind of like the old Gold Key from the early 60s. They have the art on the back cover unaltered without the logo on it. Now they do that. They call them virgin covers. Here's an issue of Mad Balls, number 2. I think there's a new Mad Ball, and I know there's a new Mad Balls comic because I did a cover for Gotham City Comics. Okay, I only have 1 Mad Balls. Here's Man of Steel, which was after the Crisis. They started Superman over again, and it was John Byrne deal, and not a lot of words in it. There were several issues. I only got the first. I just didn't like those changes. I wanted it to stay the Silver Age, the Mort Wessinger era forever. There was a TV series that everyone's forgotten with Patrick Duffy, who later went on to be in Dallas, and it was called The Man from Atlantis, and it was around 76, I guess. And this is adapted from that TV series. And it was very similar to, kind of similar to Aquaman. I enjoyed the series. It's been forgotten. I wonder if there are episodes streaming online. It didn't last long. I just remember liking it. And some people say, well, I remember liking it as a kid. I don't know if I'd like it now. I know if I like something then, I would like it now, because the way I think I was a pretty mature kid, kind of at that age, and I knew what was good. And if I liked something, then it would I would still like it now. And if I didn't like it, then I would still have the same. Basically, my tastes haven't changed. This is a good cover. Is that? Of course it is. It's Ernie Chan. See the little EC? Ernie Chan has just it's something about the art and the inking, the just the brush strokes. It's really good, and the art was by Frank Robbins in this. So that's Man from Atlantis 2. I don't know if those may have been the only issues because I think I would have kept buying it. Here's Archie Goodwin and Walter Simonson's Manhunter reprints. So, and that brings us to Man Thing, and I think I have a Man Thing I need to put in here. Doesn't sound right, does it? Okay. Oh boy! Oh gosh darn! Oh, they're here. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. Okay. I'm supposed to be inserting these books in. And there are these Legion of Superheroes comics I got from like the $1 or $2 bin that I was thinking maybe I'll give them a try. They don't look very good, but I don't know. Why did I buy them? I don't know. Why would I buy something with a cover that bad? All it does is something that it makes your comic collection look bad when you buy things from the 90s. Oh, here's Alan the cat. Alan the cat. Don't be scared, Alan the cat. Alan likes to get on this brown chair. I need to be quiet. I don't want to scare him away. He's a scared. Maybe that's why they invented the term scaredy cat, ladies and gentlemen. He's a little bit of a scaredy cat. He's getting better. I saw him torturing horribly a mouse a couple months ago, and I know, man, there's a sadistic spirit within that cat, man. It's like, just kill it, put it out of its misery, you evil cat, you. I like to think he's Alan, like like Alan Scott, the Green Lantern. But my wife named him after G.G. Allen, which probably is why he has these issues. You don't name him after G.G. Allen, man. As far as I'm concerned, his name is spelled A-L-A-N, but in her mind, it's A-L-L-I-N. Okay, Man Thing number 1. Childhood copy. I told you the story of Hulk 180, the first appearance of Wolverine. I call it the first appearance. Got sick. When I was homesick from school, my mom would go out, pick out about 2 or 3 comic books, bring them home to me, just pick them out at random. And she would bring them home to me, and she had pretty good taste. She picked out that Man Thing number 1. She picked out Hulk 180. And I think it was an Amazing Spider-Man. I forget which issue of Amazing Spider-Man, but it's the one where there's a bomb set in Peter Parker's apartment by Harry Osborn, and he's opening the door and gets blown back. Him and Mary Jane. So my mom did good with that. Okay, so Man Thing 2. I bought this off the rack as a kid. I was into Monster Comics. Now, this actually may be my childhood copy, actually, now that yeah. Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen. 3. Okay, I'm missing 4. That would be a priority to pick up 4. If I could. This is a beat-up copy of Man Thing number 5. Not my childhood copy. I would not have treated a childhood copy like whatever person owned this. Dang, the art is just so great. Yeah, I've got to get Man Thing 4. Hope it's not a key issue that all the collectors are seeking. It's got the value stamp in it. It's just got this fold, the pages aren't as white as a comic, should be, in my opinion. Yeah, this fold goes through the whole book, so Um, 6. I need to stop all that so yeah stuff because I feel like I'm just being like I'm being mean. Just I need to stop, man. I just like I come on the air and it's like I'm being a bully, making fun of some people say so yeah. It's nothing. It's not like there's anything wrong with it. Here's number 6. So yeah. Do I have 3 copies of number 6? Wow. I'll trade a copy of number 6 for a number. What was the one I needed? What was I needed? 2. I need a 4. I would gladly trade you a 6 for a 4 today. Here's 7. The Man Thing. It's weird how I always remember the Man Thing as being green, like the Swamp Thing, and then you look at it and you realize, well, he was brown. But I think at some point he becomes green. He's green and brown. Oh, do I love this cover. I wish I had a better condition copy. 8. This is really one of the greatest comic covers of all time. This is as good as anything from the Golden Age. I mean, weird noises. Man, great stuff. This was really a great time to be a kid buying comics. It really was. Today is not a great time. Mike Plug, artist. It's not a great time to be anything. It's not a great time to be an adult. I mean, I don't know. I recommend. What I need to be doing is reading more of the Bible because that's what we need to be reading right now because we are in biblical times. The things are happening that. Yeah, Mike Plug stuck with it for a while. The value stamp's intact. You always check in these. Oh, and I had a Man Thing I need to put in here. Oh, that's right. Okay, so that's 11. And the one I need to put in here is issue 9. Hopefully I didn't have a 9, and this will fit in there. 8. Oh, I don't have a 9. Okay, so now I have a 9. Okay, what's the next thing I've got to put in here? Marvel Action Hour. Okay, so that will be coming up. That's based on the 90s cartoons. That's 12. Ooh, wait, I've got 11 after 12. What? Okay, so some of these are out of order, so it's probably... No, I have 2 copies of 11. 1 12. Oh, another 12. This must have been my childhood copy of 12. I don't have a 13. I have a 14. I have another 14. I have a 15. This art's good. It's not Mike Plug. It is Rico Rival. This looks like one of those great Filipino artists that had that great style. At first I thought it was Alfredo Alcala. Why is it that... I was going to say, why do all the Filipino artists have a similar wonderful style? And maybe it's just a cultural thing. That's just how illustration's done there. Like, you can look at any manga, Japanese comic books, and they all have a very similar style because they're all based on, all of these artists have the same artist as influences, I think the artist, I forget what his name is, that created Astro Boy is really the kind of like the Disney of Japan, and so people imitate that, and that's this is 20 to a great degree, 21. So the Japanese cartoons all have these big eyes, and 21. What the? I've got this paper that I'm putting the Dr. Pepper on, and it looks like I wrote this like real quick while I was driving at a red light, because I must have been listening to the radio or some podcast or something on YouTube, and someone was making fun of the face coverings we had to wear during the pandemic. And I wanted to remember, they had some great, they wrote ritualistic shame muzzle and face diaper. So I'm just looking at this, face diaper, ritualistic shame muzzle, because I thought, I'll never remember that if I don't. Oh, it's on the back of my inspection sticker, which you had to get an inspection every year in Texas. So every December, I'd wind up having to spend about $80 to get my car inspected, and they don't do that here in this state. 21, 22. And then at some point, Man Thing will end, and then a new series will start. There's another copy of 22. And that was when I didn't like that. That's one of the first comics that did that. Now that's done very commonly in the comic book world. Like every 30 issues, there'll be a new Amazing Spider-Man #1. I was trying to look up, oh, the Joker #1. I showed you the Joker #1 last time. I was curious, what is the Joker #1 worth? So I go to mycomicshop.com and I typed in Joker #1, and I had to scroll down. And after about 50 Joker #1s, I find the real Joker #1 from 1974. And then I noticed there's 4 more pages of 50, with each one I think has about 50 titles. So 50 times 5, that's 250 comics with different covers of Joker #1, because they came up with a Joker. I guess they restarted Joker #1 a bunch of times with all these variant covers, and they have to have a separate entry for each cover. And this is Giant Size Man Thing, which has become a joke, you know, just that there was a comic called Giant Size Man Thing, and nobody caught that that has like kind of a weird, it just doesn't sound right. But there's another copy. Anyway, Giant Size Man Thing. One of these is where Howard the Duck first appears. Might be this one. This one, if you look there, right on the S, it has a star stamped on it, which means this was sold at a Army, Navy, or Air Force base. And sometimes it means there's a Mark Jewelers insert in it, but there wouldn't be in this because it's a square-bound book. They didn't put those inserts in square-bound books. Here's Giant Size Man Thing #4. This is a great book that would look good on a wall if I had a comic book wall like all the other people on the internet do. Here's Giant Size Man Thing #5. Those knees could look kind of obscene if, never mind. Okay, then they start Man Thing over again, and this cover is not as good as the first cover for Man Thing #1, the first series, the one that my mom bought me. Here's #2. This is in the 40-cent era, so comics were 35 cents when Star Wars came out in 1977, so we're up to 1979. Or late 78 when Star Trek the Motion Picture came out, which came out at Christmas, I believe. Man Thing 4, this one doesn't have a bag or board. Let's take a look inside. Art's not terrible. Don Perlin. It's okay. It's good. It's got a stamp from Lone Star Comics. That means it came from one of their quarter bins. Or, yeah, back then it probably would have been a quarter or 50-cent bin. 5, 6. Lone Star Comics was my local comic store until they closed, and now they're an online business called mycomicshop.com. Ooh, a beat-up copy of #11, not my childhood copy. This thing is something I bought for, oh, it's written by Steve Gerber. The Infernal Man thing. I thought this was something else. I thought this was, there's a Man thing I have somewhere that's written by that guy that wrote Goosebumps. It's not good. I don't see that. Okay. So we're moving into the Marvel titles now. Comics that start with the word Marvel is what I mean. Here's a little promotional flyer for Marvel Action Hour. 1990s, they had this Iron Man cartoon, which was terrible, and this Fantastic Four cartoon that was mediocre in its first season. Not as terrible as the Iron Man show. And this is like, you know, showing their pre-production art, and I think this was like an old insert or something, but I think they canceled Iron Man. They kept doing Fantastic Four for a second season, and they got new people in, new blood, and the second season was great, and it adapted 1960s stories and adapted them pretty faithfully, and it was up there with the 1960s Hanna-Barbera Fantastic Four series. It really was good. You can get it on DVD. And there's this comic, Marvel Action Hour, that came out tied in with that cartoon. And the art in this is actually pretty interesting. 3 for a 1990s comic. Here's 3. You can pick these up out of dollar bins. Nobody wants them, but they're actually pretty cool. This is Atlantis attacking in issue 4. See, as seen on TV. This is meant to be sold to kids that know it as a cartoon on Saturday morning. Or it may have come on Sunday morning, now that I think about it. I have another copy of 5. I have 3 copies of 5. It was printed on not, maybe all the comics were printed on cheaper paper at that time. See, it's kind of browning at the top. This is 6. And then it goes to 8, but I have this one over here, number 7, that I'm inserting in. Okay. So here's 8. Okay. Now we come to Marvel Adventure featuring Daredevil. These are reprints of the 1960s Daredevil. This one's got a bad spine roll that causes... So this is not something I bought as a kid, but bought later. There's wonderful Gene Colan art. So yes, this is a reprint comic. That's issue 6. Okay. This one I bought as a kid, though. I remember Marvel Adventure featuring Daredevil number 3, reprinting him fighting Khazar. Then we come to this promotional Marvel comic that, as I recall, they had them at the checkout counter at Lone Star Comics, and it was only 25 cents, but it's promoting upcoming comics. Crystar, based on a toy. That's the comic where that Glenn Danzig skull with the big horns first appeared on like issue 8. I've got 3 copies of Marvel Age number 1. It was a promotional comic telling you about upcoming Marvel comics. Here's one, issue 2, promoting the upcoming Alpha Flight. And some of these have some value. It was kind of like what Marvel did with Foom. Foom was a promotional magazine that you subscribed to when you became a member of Foom. And looking to see if it's still snowing. This wasn't as good as Foom, though. I'm needing to put in this Marvel Age, where they were, after Saul Brodsky had passed on, they did a special issue for him. So this is issue 22. I need to put that in there. So I finished with this box. Wait. Oh, there's some more Marvel. Okay. Okay, Marvel Age number 3. Marvel Age number 5. Some of these are sought after because of some of the art in them, and technically, the first appearance or one of the first appearances of the black costume for Spider-Man appeared in one of these, and so that makes that comic worth close, upwards near $100 depending on the condition. Here's 11, and this is the one I'm talking about. I have 2 copies of it. Marvel Age number 12. It's previewing Secret Wars, which is a comic I didn't really read at the time. I think I picked up issue 1. I picked it up in the last couple of years, but it was just part of I was getting disenchanted with a lot of the comics at the time. So anyway, let's see if we can find it. This is supposed to have been like more than a few months before the first, there it is. This is why people pay big money for this comic, because it shows this sketch. So I wasn't fond of that black costume. But if I'd been younger, maybe that would have been totally rad, man, and tubular and thrashing and extreme. But I like my Spider-Man the way he is, thank you. I'm the grumpy old British man at the pub. I will keep my Spider-Man as he is, thank you very much. 13, Dreadstar. 14, John Byrne. 15, Archie Goodwin. 16, 17, The Muppets. I have to put this Marvel Age with Saul Brodsky in. Okay, that's 22. Oh, I'm not 222 yet. 222, 2222. Sound like a train. I'm a train, man. Oh, gotta stand up. Gotta lift the comic box. Ah, right, damn. Oh, boy. Okay. I gotta get a book. I gotta get. Okay. I've got to go in the other room to get another box, but I might as well go out and look at the snow, man, because it doesn't snow every day, man, here in South Carolina. I hope it hasn't stopped snowing. Looks like it might have. No, it's still snowing. Oh, look, a snowplow. This is cool. You can see a snowplow in action. Yeah, they're clearing the streets. We'll be okay. Maybe we can still go to our favorite barbecue restaurant that's only open on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. Let's see how this person's faring on the street. Yeah, they're doing fine. Of course, they didn't stop at the stop sign. If they tried to stop, maybe they wouldn't have been able to. Oh, well. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Snow. Live. This thing's holding up pretty well. This blowing little ornament that I got back in Texas. Imported from Mexico. It works. It spins in the wind. Very ingenious. Okay. Well, I'm excited to get into these M comics. M. Oh, I gotta get to the other room to get them. That's right. Very good. Okay. This is the next box. Yeah, Marvel Age. Okay, let's sit you people down. Okay. Hope you're not getting vertigo. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. God damn it. Pardon my language, ladies and gentlemen. Oh. Okay. Okay, so Marvel Age. Here's 19. Promoting Star Comics. There's the black-suited Spider-Man that you guys love so much. 21. Okay, and here's where I can insert my Saul Brodsky memorial issue. 23. What the heck that is. Here's 26. These used to be very easy to pick up out of dollar bins, and they probably still are. But you have to follow the Key Collector app to know which ones are the cool ones to get, ladies and gentlemen. Which ones to get in slab. I'm being sarcastic. 30. 31. 32. I guess I'm going too fast. I just want to get to the good stuff. 33. Not that these aren't wonderful. 33. 35, but for years these were not sought after and they were considered kind of a joke. I think there's a little bit of value to this one, this Daredevil Christmas cover, Frank Miller. I think collectors are after that. That's another copy of 35 out of order. 37. It's the 25th anniversary celebration begins. This is where they have those cover portraits, and it's all about the whole history of Marvel. So that'd be a cool issue to get. 37, 39. I have another 39. Then it goes to 65. I guess I have a little bit of a hole in my collection. Here's what She-Hulk is supposed. This is issue 70. This is what She-Hulk's supposed to look like. To those of you at Disney that decided maybe She-Hulk needed to be ugly and horrible. And here's 72. There's the Punisher. That's the Dolph Lundgren movie version. 75. Now it's 50 cents. Here's the special Macho issue, 77. Ooh, it's out of order. Because here's 76, another great She-Hulk cover. Probably the She-Hulk covers are maybe sought after by good girl art collectors, possibly. If the terrible TV series didn't destroy the whole market of investors looking for She-Hulk stuff. 84. I don't know. 95. You got to buy what you like, because if you buy based on some upcoming TV show or movie, if that TV show or movie is terrible and you invested money in that. 98. Here's Toxic Avenger. Now, in this case, the movie came out first. It was terrible, and then it was made into a comic and a cartoon. I saw Toxic Avenger the day it came out. We rented it from the video store, my friend Tom Renoni and myself, and we hated it. And people, I guess younger people thought it was great. I didn't like much of that trauma stuff. I thought it was just it was just disgusting. Everything about it, the actors, the actresses. I mean, Troma did not get very attractive women. Marvel Chillers featuring Mordred the Mystic. No offense if you're a Troma actress. Marvel Chillers featuring Mordred the Mystic again. This one needs to be sealed up. I used to not understand how to seal these until I was finally taught, because I'm kind of slow, mentally deficient. Marvel Chillers 4. Maybe this is sought after now. I was buying it when it was cheap because I bought it when it came out, actually, because I loved this character. Here's 5. She was always a great character. You know, I think I thought it was pronounced Tigra when I was a kid. I think that's how I pronounced it. And then later I heard people say Tigra, and then I realized, oh yeah, it is supposed to be Tigra. But as a kid I read it Tigra. I guess I was getting the vowel sound wrong on the I there. How am I supposed to know? You don't hear it pronounced. It's just there on the front cover of a comic. That's the same thing. Okay, I've got several. Yeah, I would buy multiple copies of these. 3. Huh. These are out of order. 4, 5, and then, okay, these 2 3s are out of order. Okay, so I have, okay, this is the way it's supposed to be. There was 2, Mordred, and then there was this was the first one, that was 3, and then there was 4, and then I have 2 copies of 5. I should have all of these. I don't know why I wouldn't. Number 6, because this was something that was affordable. I probably still is. People don't have taste, right? I've got like 2, 3 copies of 6. I mean, if I see this comic for cheap, I mean, I'm gonna buy it. This is a Jack Kirby cover here, 7. I mean, you can just tell it's Jack Kirby from her face. Something about something about the face, you know. Man, I just wish it still was this wonderful time period with the Icy Bear, and this cheers me up, you know, gets me out of depression looking at these books. Hopefully that was the last one, because then I moved to Marvel Classic Comics. Here's the Time Machine. That's number 2. Here's Dracula, number 9. And he's drawn, I mean, it's done with a different style, with printed words instead of handwritten words. And on the, I mean, he's really drawn differently than he is in Tomb of Dracula. On the cover, he looks very much like the character in Tomb of Dracula with the red collar and everything. But inside, they don't do it that way. 14 was an adaptation of War of the Worlds. This is, of course, Marvel's attempt to do Classics Illustrated. And some of these are very well done. Here's the Odyssey. I was always into Greek mythology, and, you know, they can combine their talents from doing sword and sorcery comics. Archie Goodwin was the editor-in-chief. Yeah, looks cool. Then with 20, Frankenstein. Who's this artist? Dino Castrillo. Dino Castrillo. Looks like a Filipino artist, which is a compliment. But I don't remember the name Dino Castrillo. And that last episode, there was an artist like Ostriok or something like that. I looked him up, and he was also a Filipino artist. Yeah, Food of the Gods, 22. H.G. Wells story. Damn it. Excuse my language, ladies and gentlemen. I gotta get these things bagged and boarded. 25, Invisible Man. Wait. Did I show you that? No. Okay. And then we have the Iliad. The Iliad, the Odyssey is the sequel to the Iliad. The Odyssey is Odysseus, one of the warriors in the Iliad, trying to get back to his home. It takes him 20 years to get back, all his adventures. Pit and the Pendulum, 28. Yeah, Marvel's adapting all the horror and the adventure and the science fiction ones. They're not doing Oliver Twist and Great Expectations. You notice that? They're just adapting the adventure, the exciting ones. Arabian Nights is the next one. But the great thing, what I'm sure they realized, is that there's a secondary market. These were on the comic book spinner rack, but they also will be sold to teachers and used in classrooms. And then you've got a secondary market, and you can package them, and maybe buying them a different way. The next issue is going to be White Fang, but I didn't get that one. And the last one I have here looks like it's Robin Hood. So like I said, there. And then they're going to do Prince and the Pauper also. Okay. Marvel Comics. This is the 75th anniversary, so they're reprinting the first issue of Marvel Comics, which used to be the most valuable comic in existence, was Marvel Comics #1. I don't think it is anymore. I don't know. Some of these comics have sold for over $1 million, and Marvel Comics Presents was mainly a title that featured Wolverine. That's issue 3. And the part of it, and most of them are very cheap, very affordable, but then it gets to be high dollar when this Weapon X storyline was done. This is, I think, this is the first one, issue 72. And I've got several copies of that. Yeah. What is that worth, ladies and gentlemen? I've got 7 copies of that. So I might be able to trade you guys something for that. I don't need 7 copies. Here's 73. So that's the next issue. It was done by Barry Smith, who at that point was Barry Windsor Smith. Sir, I don't know, he wasn't Sir. I don't think he got knighted for his comic book work. But you know, when you add your middle name, it becomes I'm Barry Windsor Smith. I'm not Barry Smith. That's for peasants. Yeah, adding Sir to your name. That maybe I should do that. Sir Gratu Orlov. So I don't think I have the complete run of this Weapon X series. It's one story. This is an anthology. It has one story. Part of it, only a few pages, is Weapon X. Then it's other stuff like Ghost Rider. But it's Barry Smith art, and it's basically Wolverine after he's been experimented on and turned in, put in the exoskeleton put in him. He's wandering through the snow naked, and it's a lot of